Do you know what truly hurts? It's not losing you, nor swallowing the fact that you moved on with your life as if I never existed. No, what really destroys the soul is seeing you beside someone 1,000 times better. Someone who, ironically, knows how to value everything I underestimated. At that moment, regret doesn't just slap you. It throws you to the ground and stomps on your face. And the most ironic part? You don't even have to lift a finger. Just by existing, happy and fulfilled, you're already giving the greatest moral lesson of the story. Today, we're going to dissect why happiness alongside another person is the ultimate humiliation for someone who once wasted you. Get ready, because this video will show that success is the trophy and someone else's defeat comes as a bonus. But before we begin, here's the classic reprimand. This video only reached you because someone had the decency to like, subscribe, and perhaps even comment. So, shall we reciprocate? It doesn't hurt to give that like. Click the subscribe button and drop a thanks algorithm in the comments. It's not for me, it's for the system which, yes, needs to be fed with attention. Now enough with the chit-chat. Let's get to what matters because we've already left the nonsense in the past, along with the mistakes. Number 1. The mistake she made. The classic plot of self-sabotage, right? She looked at you and, instead of seeing the whole package, decided to label you as the safe guy. Not the irresistible adventurer, but the safe harbor, the always available shoulder, the problem solver for problems that weren't even hers. Basically, you were the ambulatory plan B, while she decided whether she really wanted to grow in life or continue playing the emotion game. Because, in her mind, stability is synonymous with boredom, affection is weakness, and you, of course, would always be there, like a welcome mat. Only, like every well-crafted illusion, this had an expiration date. Because guess what? No one spends their whole life waiting to be valued by someone who clearly doesn't even know how to value fresh bread. And then came the classic blow, I need some time for myself. What an iconic phrase. Translating. I want to take a peek at what the market has to offer, but keep my spot reserved, okay? She really thought she could test the waters and return to the safe harbor when she understood it well. As if you were the consolation prize of her emotional reality show. Only look, real life has no replay or priority password. Her fatal mistake? Confusing patience with passivity. She thought your ability to listen, concede, and even forgive was a sign of weakness. That you were moldable, available, predictable. Only she didn't understand that you were there because you believed it was worth it. And then, ironically, the time to think she asked for was the same time you used to see yourself, strengthen yourself, and eventually move on. Plot twist, baby. Her mistake is basic. The eternal belief that second chances will always be available. That she can play back and forth with other people's feelings without ever facing the consequences. But then reality slapped her. Not only did she lose you, but she also created an abyss between you two. An abyss that, surprise, you didn't even try to cross. Her awareness began to sink slowly, like rain that doesn't wet. First was that digital void. You, who used to respond to everything like someone winning a loyalty trophy, suddenly disappeared. No messages, no likes, no reactions to stories. The absence of attention was the first sign that things had changed. And at first, she must have thought it was one of your little games. A tantrum! Something from someone in the drama phase. But time passed, and it became evident. You turned the page. You were no longer trying to prove anything or justify anything. And for her, that was a direct punch to the ego. Because let's face it, nothing hurts more than realizing you're not irreplaceable in someone's life. But the real plot twist, that was still just the warm-up, because dealing with your absence was already difficult, but facing your presence beside someone else? There, my friend, is a low blow to self-esteem. And that's where we're heading in the next chapter. Number 2, the impact of seeing you with someone better. Until then, she was dealing with the void of your absence. And let's be honest, absence is somewhat manageable. You can romanticize it, create fantasies, convince yourself that silence is just time. But the real plot twist, the one that destroys any shred of self-esteem, comes when you reappear, but with someone by your side. And not just anyone, someone who clearly knows how to value everything she threw away. At that moment, her illusion that you're still available, silently yearning for her, crumbles. Not only have you moved on, but you also seem to be living your best phase. With every smile you show, every photo you post, everything screams that your life is on a level she never managed to reach while she was by your side. And that, my friend, is the blow that makes her ego writhe in pain. The poison is comparison. It doesn't matter if the new person is objectively better or not. In her mind, no one should ever occupy the throne she believed was exclusively hers. Only reality is clear. While she underestimated, someone arrived, valued, and transformed you into an even better version of yourself. That's what destroys her. It's not just the loss of the relationship, it's the realization that the problem was never you, the problem was always her. Now, social media has become her personal hell. Every story, every post, every caption, all seem like a provocation. And let's agree, the algorithm doesn't help either. Those photos smiling with the new person, the moments captured casually, everything sounds like an indirect jab. She obsessively revisits your profile, trying to find a crack, something that indicates everything is a facade. But instead, she only finds your genuine happiness. This is the final torture. And how does she react? With that predictable and pathetic arsenal of someone drowning in their own regret. Likes on old photos, random comments full of second intentions, and of course, the classic attempt to provoke jealousy, posting a super-produced selfie with a smile that screams, "I'm doing great without you," but clearly says the opposite. All this while she tries to ignore the elephant in the room, the fact that she was replaced. And why does it hurt so much? Because seeing you with another person isn't just about your absence. It's a mirror reflecting her mistake in high definition. She realizes that the place she occupied and underestimated now belongs to someone who does what she never knew how to do. Value you. It's a constant humiliation, a glaring reminder that the problem was never a lack of love or effort on your part. The problem was her emotional myopia. Every photo, every loving gesture, every public display of affection between you and your new person is like a direct punch in her face. And the phrase that keeps echoing in her head is, "That could be me." Only it's not, because she chose to let go. And now, the door is closed. But accepting that? No way. And that's when she starts scheming the most desperate and, let's be honest, ridiculous attempts to win you back. But, spoiler alert, by this point, it's too late. And if you still think you should pay attention to these pathetic attempts, wake up. Stop being an emotional doormat. Want to turn the tables? Then grab the manual that's in the description. Learn to value yourself, become a real challenge, and make anyone think twice before underestimating you again. Because respect isn't asked for, it's demanded. And, my dear, it's time to stop being stepped on and start stepping. Number 3, the desperate attempts to get back. And we arrive at the final phase of the soap opera, the moment when regret devours her alive and she decides she needs to do something. Because accepting that you've moved on, especially with someone who's clearly upgraded, that doesn't fit into her inflated ego. So she does what anyone drowning in their own pride does. Starts crawling. But of course, disguising the desperation because admitting defeat isn't part of the script. The script of desperation. First, she tries the passive-aggressive approach, subtle, almost imperceptible, in her mind. She goes to your Instagram and likes some old photos, the ones she solemnly ignored while you were together. Then she moves to the stories, throwing in harmless reactions. A ha-ha on that meme you reposted, or a little heart on your post-workout selfie. All this to test if you still react. But you? Nothing. Without a response, she intensifies. Now come the casual messages, a carefully planned, "Hi, how are you?" or a forced compliment. "I saw your latest photo, you look so good." And there's always that cheap attempt to bring the past back. "I remembered when we went to that place. Miss it." It's almost pathetic. Only since she's nothing if not persistent, things escalate. If the messages don't stick, she switches to social media Operation Reconciliation mode. Her feed is flooded with selfies worthy of a magazine cover, always with pseudo-intellectual captions like, "Sometimes losing is just a reminder that we're strong." Or the classic, "What is true always comes back." Translating, "I see you with another and I don't know how to handle it." And when nothing works, she resorts. She starts leaving vague comments on your public photos just to get attention. Or worse, she tries to appear in places she knows you frequent. Maybe even sends that long audio on WhatsApp saying she needs to vent. It's tragic to watch, almost like seeing a fish out of water floundering, the impact of silence. But what really knocks her down isn't the lack of response, it's your indifference. Because in her mind, while you hated her, she still had relevance. But your coldness, the fact that you simply don't care anymore, is the definitive proof that she lost. And that, my friend, hurts more than any insult could. She expected drama, expected emotional explosions, maybe even tears or a furious declaration. But what she finds is emptiness. You're not trying to retaliate, not playing her game, you're living. And that's what completely breaks her. The final move. If she's really bold, she might try one last desperate move. An invitation to talk. An attempt to get physically closer. Who knows, maybe even a melodramatic apology. But at this stage, no matter what she says or does, the damage is already done. Because what she will never understand is that her problem isn't the physical distance between you. It's the fact that, emotionally, you've already ceased to exist for her. And you know what's best. You don't have to do absolutely anything. Your absence speaks louder than any argument. Your new happiness, your new life, is the most silent and devastating scream she could ever imagine. Number 4, the reality she will never accept. And now we reach the peak of the drama, the moment she is forced to face the stark truth. Everything she tried, forced messages, desperate likes, pathetic indirects, and even that embarrassing "we need to talk" didn't work at all. In fact, it only served to make the obvious even clearer. You're not coming back. The truth she will never swallow is brutal. Her time is up. There's no turning back, no more space for her. Because her regret, no matter how big and loud it is, doesn't erase the mediocre choices she made. While she was betting on the illusion that she could play with your heart and still come out unscathed, you were doing something much more useful. Growing, rebuilding, and finally freeing yourself. The fatal blow here isn't just that you're with another person, it's who you've become. The version of you that she always wanted to manipulate is now someone she will never be able to reach. You grew, you valued yourself, and most importantly, you learned to close doors that should never have been left open. And for her, someone who always thought she would have you in the palm of her hand, that's unbearable. The silence that echoes, silence is the true executioner in this story. Because see, for her, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. She expected an explosive reaction, a heated argument, maybe even tears or a final emotional plea. But instead, all she found was emptiness. And there's nothing more devastating than realizing that you not only stopped responding, but also stopped caring. The final lesson? It's simple, but she doesn't want to admit it. Life doesn't give refunds to those who waste opportunities. While she was using time to decide if you were good enough, you were investing in something much more valuable in yourself. And of course, in someone who truly knows how to recognize what they have. Now, all she has left is to watch from afar. Because regret, dear, isn't something that can be resolved with an apology or with little reconciliation games. It's a weight she'll carry alone, while you live in the present and build a future that, ironically, she will never have the chance to be part of. And so the cycle closes. The game not only turned but ended once and for all. And her? Well, she ended up with the only thing she deserved, the consequences of her own choices. And that's it. In the end, life has a very cruel but fair way of putting everything in its place. She played with what she thought was guaranteed, underestimated what she had, and bet that you'd be there forever. Only she lost. And the most ironic part, it wasn't you who defeated her, it was herself. While she lives trapped in a cycle of regret, trying to erase mistakes that have already turned into consequences, you are living your best version. You didn't just move on, you evolved, became someone bigger and stronger, someone who doesn't look back. That, in the end, is what hurts the most, realizing that the problem was never you. The problem was always her inability to see your worth while there was still time. Now, you are the living example that the best kind of revenge isn't hate, isn't resentment, it's success. And her chapter in your life? It's already written, closed, and archived. The focus now is the future. And guess what? The future has never been so promising. If this video helped you see the situation more clearly, you know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Because here, we don't waste time with nonsense. And remember, the respect you receive starts with the respect you give yourself. Life doesn't wait for anyone. So, hold your head up, straighten your posture, and move forward because the best is yet to come. See you in the next video.